The trade rumor carousel goes round and round as Vancouver has made it clear they are selling their $92 million forward, and writers have linked him to the Carolina Hurricanes as Carolina continues to push for a Stanley Cup. This is a massive undertaking and a move that changes everything. Welcome to Hurricanes Digest. I am Jeff Testanero. I would like for you to like, comment, subscribe to Hurricanes Digest. Let's make this the #1 Hurricanes channel in the entire world. Love that. I said it last video. I'll say it again. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it ain't broke. It ain't broke in Carolina. It ain't broke at all. The Hurricanes are the best team in the East. Fact. The Hurricanes are contenders for the Stanley Cup. Fact. The Hurricanes are probably the #1 contenders coming out of the East. Fact. The Hurricanes do not need a hired gun this late in the season. But it's that time of year. We entertain rumors. We entertain news coming through X and Yahoo and Twitter. And it's just that time of year again. It's just that time of year again. And there's another name linked to the Carolina Hurricanes, and that's Mr. Elias Pettersson out of Vancouver. Pettersson's on a club that's pretty bad at everything, I would say. Vancouver is pretty much last in the entire league in pretty much everything. Vancouver's pretty bad. Sorry, Canucks fans, your team's really bad. Now, keeping a former 30-plus goal scorer who only put up 35 points in 52 games this season with an $11.6 million a year contract really isn't a good look for rebuilding Canucks. It's not really a good look for any team that's really not going to make the playoffs. And if the Canucks keep on their trajectory, they're not going to make the playoffs probably to about 2040. I know that Pettersson is locked into 2031. Correct me if I'm wrong down below. That's fine. He's locked into his $92 million contract into 2031. Who is he, Rick DiPietro? Is he Rick DiPietro with the Islanders? And that really horrible contract, I still believe that they're paying him on in the baseball world. I'll go check with the Baseball Digest guys. I think we call that Bobby Bonilla Day. Look it up. If you're not a baseball fan, look it up. It's pretty bad. That's per 20, 30, 1 or 2. So hit me up down below. We'll talk about that. Not a good look. Not a good look at all. Pettersson's best year came at 2022-23, where he scored 32 plus goals, and tallied 102 points. He thrived on a playoff caliber team. He did pretty well. He could do well in Carolina then. If he's used to that kind of pressure this late in the year, I would say yes. We all know that Trocheck is too. We'll get to him in a bit. So he could do well in Carolina, but in my opinion, and you're listening to my opinion, the Carolina Hurricanes don't need him at all. They're fine the way they are. They're fine the way they are. Mr. Pettersson did have something to say, though. Pettersson went on to tell NHL.com, I haven't lived up to the expectations of the contract, and I'll be the first one to say it. Obviously, I wish it would be different. I've played better, a lot more points, but it is what it is. I'm just trying to play a game tonight and see what happens. Now, rumors of Vancouver's heavy asking price have been circulating. A current young NHL player has to be in the league or definitely league ready. Multiple first-round picks. A fatted calf, the GM's firstborn son, and a partridge in a pear tree. I believe that's all they're asking for. With no intent to retain any of his $11.6 million a year contract. So basically what you're telling me is the Vancouver Canucks are not willing to retain any of the contract. Not a 60-40, not a 50-50, not a 30-70, nothing. They want all this stuff, which I get. Everybody wants young players, especially if you're rebuilding and you're the absolute bottom of the league. I get that. I get that you want draft picks. I get that you want assets. But the Vancouver Canucks are not willing to retain any of his contract. They're not willing to eat all that. So you got to give away all this stuff, take on this massive contract for a guy who's, well, pretty much not doing his job. If Pettersson was living up to his job, I would get them asking for all that. But they're not. He's not. So Vancouver's willing to give you a guy who's not doing his job and this entire debt of his contract, but is demanding all this stuff in return. I don't know. As you know, he's not the only one linked. Something just came down the pike. That's right. Vinny Trocheck. I know I pointed it out yesterday, but Vinny Trocheck is still heavily linked to the Carolina Hurricanes. So it's either Pettersson or Trocheck, I'm assuming. And you can't eat both contracts, right? Recently on X, it came down. Carolina pushing hard for Trocheck. Hashtag Carolina culture. Now, I know he's linked. I know everybody's linked. Pettersson's linked. Everybody's apparently linked to the Carolina Hurricanes. But again, it's this time of year. Now, let's just say that all of these writers and all of these sports people are right, and Carolina does need a viable number 2 center behind Sebastian Aho. The answer, this is back to Pettersson. The answer is not a slumping center attached to a multi-million dollar a year deal. Nope. If I got to pick one of the two, I'm going Trocheck. I'm going Vinny Trocheck. But again, like I said in the last video, what do they give up? The answer is definitely not Pettersson. If the answer wasn't Trocheck, the answer is not Pettersson. He's not doing his job. He's slumping. They're going to be paying him until, 3024 or whatever his contract runs up that Vancouver gave him. So, yeah, trade deadline coming up. I, again, would like to invite you to like, comment, subscribe to this channel. Stay tuned to Hurricanes Digest for everything that is going down around the trade deadline. As soon as something hits, I'm going to jump on here, Caniacs, and we're going to talk about it. So, for Hurricanes Digest, I'm Jeff Testanero. See you soon, Caniacs.